You have transmissions holding.
Patch incoming signal. Full audio and video decode.
Purple files accessed.
What you are about to see has never been shown to anyone outside the Drake House.
And so it begins.
For those who have listened to Grey 17 over the last 4 years and who've been following along with especially The Lies, Scott would usually open these shows up with welcoming everyone out there in podcast land. And unfortunately, podcast land has lost someone. For those who have seen the pages that we have, unfortunately, Scott is no longer with us. For those longtime listeners, about a year ago, Scott had a stroke, and he has been struggling with complications of that ever since. And this past week, due to complications, had another stroke. And unfortunately, this time, Scott did not make it through that. Those of us who have known Scott for easily 20 plus years, those who have just met Scott, are obviously struggling with what to say, what to think, and this new reality that we find ourselves in without Scott. We were commenting as we got on here if everyone was here, and we were expecting the box to pop up that said Scott was here, and that's just not the case. As far as the shows, we've had fans who have followed along with us, as I said, for the last 5 years, who have been with us on this journey from starting with Grey 17, which started as an idea that Scott and myself had years ago to do a show about a show that we loved and invite our friends to join us. We couldn't have imagined what it would become, the opportunities we had for interviewing staff, and what we've seen this past week affirms the community that we have been part of. We have had people reach out literally from across the globe. We've had people from Australia, New Zealand, across the UK, South America, who have reached out to ask if we were okay to share their condolences with Scott and his family. And it's just an incredible community that we have become part of. When Scott had the stroke a year ago, he messaged me about Grey 17, and the one thing he told me was, don't let it end. And Scott wouldn't want this to end with him, with the community we've built, the relations we've built with friends and those who listen to us, who have shared their stories of the impacts we've had in their lives. Scott would absolutely not want this to end. Those who know, I backed away from especially The Lies early on due to my own schedule. I'm going to be jumping back in as a host to make sure that we do edits and working on things, but there's going to be some time for a transition, and we're going to be working to get things ready to do that, and we're going to do it in our own time. So we can't tell you when we're going to be back with episodes or when things will be posted on a regular basis. We're going to take the time that we need to make sure that we're in a place to do this, and that we do this in a way that is respectful to the fans, but also carries on the legacy and memory of Scott. I know there's several on here that want to potentially add or say things in memory of Scott, so I will open this up for anyone who wants to jump in or say something. Chris.
Yeah, I figured I could just say a little something. The newbie of the newbies, if you will. So I haven't been around very long, but you know, Prentice reached out to me, asked me if I would be interested. I said, yeah, sure. Prentice and I go back about 25 years of talking about Star Trek and different, sci-fi, fantasy, action, adventure, you name it. We've had debates or talked about it. And so I jumped on the opportunity when he invited me, and Scott reached out, and it was from the very first text that, I felt Scott made me feel welcome. I asked him specifically because Prentice can, vouch for this. If this was a rated R, NC-17, if it's a PG, I just because I told him I didn't want to disrespect the pod. I didn't want to disrespect what you guys are doing and come in too hot. And he said, "Oh, don't worry about that." And I jumped on the first time, found out why he said, "Don't worry about that." But every time I came on, Scott always made me feel welcome, always made me feel part of the team, even though I am the newest newbie. Never made me feel like, I was an outsider or I didn't belong. And I think, even though we didn't see eye to eye on everything when it came to movies per se, there was always like that mutual respect and just, a real, I don't know, it's kind of difficult to put a word to it, but he wasn't the type that would let you walk on him or push him over, but he also wasn't the type that wanted to push you over or walk on you either. And I think that type of leadership, if you will, really made it easy for me to kind of jump into this podcast and feel like I was part of the team. And as we all know, leadership is a huge thing and it can either make or break something. And I feel like Scott really, being who he was, made this podcast what it is. And made me feel, again, like I said, like I was part of the team. So, as of now, he is the only Starfleet captain I've had. And, it was an honor to serve underneath, Captain Scott. And he's up there with the rest of the legends that have come before us. So, yeah, that's my piece. It's really sad to think about, but I'm really glad to have been able to know him for the short period of time I did, and to be able to be a part of his team.
You were one of us from the jump, Chris.
How does the newest one make me cry?
Yeah.
Right.
It's because he's one of us. Yeah.
You really are, Chris. And I know I've said it before. Sorry. I didn't think I had feelings, and here they are. You really do fit. You and Prentice, like, don't ever expect this, guys. You guys really do like complete the podcast, and Scott was right. He usually was right, and I wouldn't tell him that because he's not here now, so I can say it out loud and be okay with it. Scott usually knew what was best for this podcast, and bringing Prentice in, we were all like fucking like, oh God, what are we doing? Like, who is this guy? We're going to break him. We're going to just fucking ruin this guy. Prentice is just like us, and Chris is just like us. And you guys have really made it better. So thank you.
And Scott would be the first person to say that too. Like, he really enjoyed having you guys part of the group. And, we always talked about what great additions you were and how like you weren't afraid of our crazy. And that was really awesome because you guys just slid right in like you were here, like we were DMs,
Backpack full of pussy. Just like every day, this dude is saying shit that I'm like, okay. And there it is. That's why he fits in.
Well, it's good to feel like, like we're home, right? And Scott was a huge part of that, making us feel like we're home.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm going to go ahead and read mine since I'm already crying, if that's okay. Because I don't want to stop crying and then cry again. So this is something that I wrote for Scott. Apparently, I have found my passion in the last couple weeks with 2 other people passing. Writing things apparently is my way of grieving and like being more okay. So to Scott, there are those, sorry, give me a second. I haven't read through this out loud yet, so it's going to be rough. There are those who believe the universe is so vast that when a single star burns out, no one notices. I am not one of those people. Every once in a while, a star burns so bright, it is impossible not to take notice. Saturday, one of those stars went out. God. Oh, I'm even madder at him now than I ever was when he was here. Oh, Scott, middle name unknown. Does anybody know Scott's middle name? Okay. I don't think he had one. I'm not sure he was even here.
I'm going to make one up.
His middle initial was S, which
Scott, sexual Samuel McFarland. The man, the myth, the asshole. All jokes aside, he really had a unique talent for bringing out the punchy in people. A man who dedicated his life to service. As an Eagle Scout, he showed the world from boyhood. He understood the meaning of to serve, not for glory, not for gain, but because someone had to, or I'm sorry, someone should, so why not him? In his career, he served his community not just with intention, but with passion. From the school board to the front lines of AmeriCorps, he believed in the power of people building something better. I can see Captain McFarland now standing on the bridge. We live for one, we die for one. We live for the one. I know these fucking podcast people are going to eat me alive, so I'm going to start over. We live for the one, we die for the one. Don't come for me. But Scott lived for many, for his wife, for his kids, for his friends, and for his podcast. Oh, his podcast, that was his baby. And to all the people who made it work and supported us, thank you. We aren't quite sure why you continue to encourage our bullshit, but for the fact that it made Scott's soul lit, for the fact that it lit Scott's soul on fire, I am forever grateful. He cheered for the underdogs, which I'm convinced is why he remained a Cubs fan. Go Cards. I'm glad he got to see them win a World Series, something that my uncle never got to see. Scott's life was not long, but it was vast, measured in not years, but in the lives he touched. He was, in the truest sense, a first one. To his family, may you carry his memory like a sign, like a signal across time, strong, steady, and filled with love. To his friends, may you honor him not just with grief, but with action. Scott showed us all how to serve, to care, and to stand. Ooh, to Scott, I say goodbye, not to a friend who was lost in the darkness, but one who knows that some stars once lit never truly go out. From the stars we came, from the stars we return, from now until end of the time, and therefore we commit your body to the deep. Ooh. I love that guy. We were friends for like 20 fucking 4 years. I met him in 2002, maybe 2001. I don't remember, but we were in Model Illinois government together. And he was just as annoying then as he was recently. And he was passionate and did all the things that, that was the start of his entire life of being him. So it was just it's a shock to the system to not see him on this podcast right now. He's the reason that I was here. I've always wanted to do a podcast, and he put out the thing on Facebook that said, who wants to do a podcast? And I was like, fuck it, I'm in. What are we doing? And that began one of the biggest regrets of my life. Cause I was like, what the fuck? I'm like, what are we watching? I hate this. It sucks. I hated the whole first season. And then I loved the second, third, and fourth. And then he lied to me and Emily through the whole fifth fucking season about how great it was when he knew that it was absolutely fucking shit. So for that, fuck you, Scott. We miss you, and we will continue when we are ready to carry this thing along and honor your life. So love you.
Well, I didn't prepare something written, but I do have some thoughts. Um, I've been thinking about this a lot the last 2 days. I've been looking at old pictures, and I've been just thinking about old memories and talking to old friends. And, you know, I was thinking, like, how do we go forward from here? Like, how do we pick up the pieces and move forward without someone who's been in my life for over half of my lifespan? Um, I met Scott around the same time as you. It's been over 20 years. And,
Yeah.
out of all the times, throughout our life, we had moments where we were closer and then we would drift apart and closer, but it was never anything bad. It was just life. I remember going to his house for game nights. I was there when his first daughter was born. I have so many pictures and memories of like holding her when she was a baby, when she was a toddler. We would go to B-dubs together and watch the Bears game, and she had little Bears cheerleader outfits. And like, I have so many memories with him and his family, and I was friends with his brother and we all did MIG together. And like, we took a road trip to St. Louis and we took another road trip to another city for these stupid MIG meetings, but we would make it an event.
Yeah.
Like we went to a Cub Cardinal game one time and then another time we did something else. So a lot of my formative years and my memories from my core memories from my youth and my younger days and like my formative years were with him and other friends that are part of this group and others that we know too. So the hardest part is just figuring out like what do we do now? Like how do we even process him not being here? And a couple years ago, a mutual friend of ours passed away and we were at the funeral and he was sitting next to me and I started crying. He put his arm around me and we were both kind of crying and we were saying about how we're so sick of grieving our friends and we've lost so many friends. Oh, for a span, like 3 or 4 years in a row, we lost a friend every year and it was like devastating. And we were just commenting and lamenting about it. And I never thought I would be grieving him next. And that's the part that hit me the hardest was like, we literally just had this discussion a couple years ago about how life is short and we lost our friends and now he's gone. And I I feel like I'm still in a bit of shock and disbelief. I've had moments where I can't stop crying. I have moments where I don't think it's real. Like I'm still waiting for him to come on here and be like, haha, fuckers, I got you,
Right.
like, um, it's just, you know, the thing about Scott is he was the kind of person that if you needed help, he would help you, no questions asked. If I called him and I was like, hey, I need this, he would be the first one to show up. He was the kind of person that would always help his friends and be there. He would drop anything to help you if you needed it. And, even when he picked on me or gave me a hard time or gave me shit about stuff, I know for a fact that if I would have called him and said, I need help, he would have been, where do I go? What time? We ride at dawn. And that's just the kind of person he was. He had that big heart and out of all the years and the moves and he moved to one state, I moved somewhere else. We never fully lost touch. And because of him, I will always forever be grateful to him for bringing me onto the podcast for one because as we get older, it's hard to have adult friendships. Life happens. You have kids, you have spouses, you have responsibilities and you lose touch with people. And there's nothing that happened. There was no falling out, no ill will, no fights, nothing like that. It's just life happened. And because of Scott bringing me into the podcast, I was able to reconnect with friends that I met around the same time that like Jesse, I hadn't talked to in like 10 years, you know? And I think we talked when we first started dating our dudes.
Yeah.
And then like we both got, we just kind of got lost in life and it wasn't anything wrong. We just got sucked up into life.
Just
But
Facebook friends, like
yeah,
not, still
yeah,
friends, but
yeah,
just
kept in touch
watching on.
socially. Yeah, but like, like not having real
Yep.
discussions.
Yep.
And I'm always going to be grateful that number one, he reconnected me with friends and brought people back into my life. And he introduced me to Emily and Mike and now Prentice and Chris. Like, um, I really feel like our group is a dysfunctional ass family. We bicker, we joke, we fight, we love, but I know that like if I needed something, you all would be there too. And this wouldn't be what it is without Scott bringing us together. And I really feel that people come into your life for a reason. People are part of your life for a reason. And I feel like one thing Scott was good at was connecting people. And I feel like he brought this mishmash group of crazy asses together. But I can't imagine my life without any of you. Even Chris, you're so new and Prentice, you're newer to this show. But I fucking love you guys, like just as much as I love these other guys. And
We've claimed you as our own. You're it.
yeah, but like it's just, I can't imagine life without it. And now the hardest part is going to be, where do we go from here? Like, how do we go forward without Scott? And I thought about it. I'm like, what are we going to do about the podcast? But Blake, when you said that Scott was like, don't let it end,
Yeah.
that that hit me like a ton of bricks, because I feel like the worst thing we could do would be to walk away and not finish it. One, because we love doing it, but two, our friend wouldn't want that. So I do think that we will find our way and we'll be able to continue. It's going to take a little time, but we'll get there. And I appreciate the support from everybody. Like,
Mhm.
going through the comments and like the words from people who have listened to our podcast, both of them
Mhm.
really have made me cry, and like just really resonates with why we do what we do. And being that I'm on the radio for my job, I run into people in the public. I don't think I do anything special. I just go to work every day.
Mhm.
But I've had people stop me at the store and tell me that like they really liked one of the stories I talked about, or, I was having a really hard day and you said something really funny. It made me laugh, or I was going through a hard time and you were there like a friend for me, and I'm like, I'm just doing my job. But that's exactly what our podcast is for people. We reach people in places where they need somebody or they need something to grasp onto.
Mhm.
And I think that's the most beautiful thing about it, is that you can see the impact that Scott made on people.
Mhm.
And, you know, um, I really, I really think that people don't realize the impact that we make, just by doing our fun little podcast and going off these
Mhm.
rabbit trails. But like, it does make a difference in people's lives, and people are invested. They feel like they know us. They feel like we're their friends. They love listening to us and they want to hear about what's going on with us. So I'm not surprised that we've gotten so much support and love. And it's really appreciative, and I'm grateful for it. And, you know, um, the one thing that I will say is that I just can't stop thinking about Scott's kids and,
Mhm.
Amber, his wife, and just, I really hope that people will support his family. And the thing is, I think that Scott was loved by so many that his family will feel that love too.
Mhm.
The way that I look at it is, if I care about somebody, their family is already immediately in, because they're an extension of that person,
Yeah,
you know?
they're my family, right?
Yeah. And I haven't met his two younger kids, but obviously I know the older girl. I haven't seen her since she was probably like 7, but
Mhm.
you know, um, it, I just really, it breaks my heart the most that they're not going to get to know Scott the way that we got to know him, and for how
Yeah.
long we got to know him. And I just really send all the love and support to them, because, and Craig too, his brother, like, I can't imagine what it would be like to lose your sibling, because your
Mhm.
siblings could sometimes be like your best friends. Um, and I know they were close, and I know that like they had a good relationship, and I just really feel for all of them. And Mike and Emily, you guys knew him for since high school. Like, it's just so crazy because we probably met him shortly after you guys graduated. So like, I think we're all in the same boat of, now what? But I will say, I know that we'll get through it, and we have each other to lean on, and we have our wonderful listeners in our community to lean on, and
Mhm.
we will come back with something great, and we'll honor our friend, and we'll do it in a really meaningful way. So I'm gonna stop talking because I feel like I'm rambling now.
Dude, for somebody that didn't like write something, that was, yeah, you nailed every
Oh,
bit of Scott as a person. So
thanks. I have a
That was
brain
funny.
cellar too.
you have lots of brain cells. Don't sell yourself short.
She has
Uh,
3, not just 1.
3.
so outside of Deep Space Nine and Babylon 5 and all the sci-fi, Scott was also a fan of the show The West Wing, and I actually today
Mhm.
made the mistake of watching the episode
Yeah.
Requiem. Uh,
No, Blake,
for,
why did you do
Yeah,
that?
because he's
for
a
for
glutton for
those that
punishment.
know, and I watched Requiem for a reason, because that was the funeral of the Chief of Staff, Leo McGarry,
Mhm.
and Scott was our Leo on this show.
100%.
And at the end of that, they presented a thing that was written on a napkin WWLD, which was What Would Leo Do? And I think for us, it's what would Scott do? And it's carry on and keep going. And well, yes, I probably cried more than I should have watching Requiem earlier, but it fit, and that was the piece. And one of the parts, I believe it was from a episode after that, where Bartlett was talking to Josh Lyman, and he said he made me a better person and a better president. And working with Scott and knowing Scott all these years and being involved in volunteer organizations and nonprofits in the service and this service sector of working with communities, Scott definitely did make me a better person and better at what I do, working with nonprofits and organizations such as that. So cheers, Scott. Here's to you wherever you are. And Jesse mentioned the line, and it comes from Sagan, but was in Babylon 5 of "We're all star stuff." And Scott's still out there somewhere, watching over everything and being part of the universe that we're all tied to and included in. There is a GoFundMe campaign that was set up to help support Scott's family. We have shared that on both podcast Facebook pages, both especially The Lies and Gray 17. I'll include it in the links below on this video as well. For anybody that would like to help support Scott and his family through this time, that support would be greatly appreciated.
I haven't seen that yet, so I'll have to go look at it. I've tried to avoid Facebook.
Mike or Emily, anything you want to?
If I try, it'll either be sad or snarky.
Go
So,
go
would
for
want
both.
it no other way.
Right.
so okay. Those of you who follow the podcast, I don't know how often it actually makes it in because I've never actually listened to our bullshit. There's a joke about whether or not I have feelings. I, in fact, do, and I feel like this was his asshole way of getting them out to prove he was right. So,
There's better
thanks,
ways,
asshole.
Scott. Right.
This was really unnecessary. Like completely unnecessary. Get done with this. But seriously, when he put out the call for the B5 podcast, I was like, I don't know. I told him, like, I'm interested, but I don't know. The last thing I want is, like, should I say to be permanently on the internet where, like, anybody can hear it? You know, because that always goes well for everybody. And he talked me into it, and I'm so glad he did, because that was amazing. And not only did I have that asshole as such a great friend, I now have a bunch of new assholes as friends who I love just as much. And I'm really glad we started the DS9, and I know we will continue. But yeah, it's gonna be hard to do without him.
I agree. Mike.
God.
It's okay, Mike.
You don't have to.
feelings
You don't
too.
have to.
No.
You don't have to if you don't
No,
want
you
to.
do have to. No. Stop being nice to him. I'm kidding.
Make it weird, please.
This
Make
is-
it weird. I don't want to cry.
This is hard because Scott is probably the closest person in my life that I have lost to date. I have known him since the mid 90s. He was one of my oldest friends. He was my classmate. He was my coworker. He was my partner, my accomplice, and a big inspiration, and my friend and the closest thing I have in life to a brother. And yeah, this sucks. It's this is I'm still in the phase of pushing it down and trying to keep myself busy so I don't have to think about it.
Yep.
I can only say that everything that you guys have already said is 100% true. He was the ride or die in my life. He was the guy that I knew I could positively count on. And I think he hit the nail on the head with what would Scott do? Because he was a dynamo.
Hmm.
He never stopped. I think part of it was because he had insomnia, but part of it was because he
He had undiagnosed ADHD.
he
Yeah.
just couldn't stop. He that was the guy that he was, man. He wanted to help everybody. He lived
Yeah.
to serve and to help people, and he brought people together. And there are these times in your life when I'm not as good of a person as he is, quite frankly. And people would be like, "Hey man, can you help me move tomorrow?" And I'll be like,
Absolutely.
"Shit, I really don't fucking want to help you move tomorrow." But I ask myself, like, I literally think to myself, like, what would Scott do?
Yeah.
He'd say yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and it is the driving force in a lot of too much stuff. But yeah. So anyway, before I fall apart, I can only say that I know Scott brought people together, and most of you here on the podcast I didn't know
Yeah.
before we started doing Grey 17, and he built this community on Grey 17, and we're building this community on especially the lies, and he built so many other communities in his life and through his work and through his service and his passion and his endless supply of hope. Um, the podcasts were, I know, particularly, he was very passionate about them. They were one of the few things that he took for himself in life. He wanted to do this, and I think it meant the world to him that so many of you out there, uh, showed up in the ways that you did, just participating, giving back, our fundraisers that we've done every year, just all of it, and generally just being cool. Our community does not suck in any way. It really doesn't. And I think that is because of him and because of his vibe and his everything. I can't put any other words on it. So I want to say thank you, first of all, for enduring all of this to date, and I know that the show must go on, to continue to honor his memory. So thank you.
Good job, Mike.
Yeah, it was good, Mike.
Thanks.
Thank you,
I
Mike.
wish I could give you a forced hug because I know you don't like them.
Yeah, did you just admit that you like us? I'm not sure. I didn't hear the words, but I think I heard the words.
I think
Well,
you did.
your signal's breaking up, and
Mikey likes us.
Mikey likes us. Oh.
So I'm the last one up, so I just wanted to say that, sometimes our lives are shaped by chance encounters. And I was put together with Scott through a mutual friend, Mike Davis, last year, and we talked. Mike said, "Hey, guy, you really like Star Trek. I want to introduce you to Scott. He loves all things Star Trek. You need to talk." And man, we were nerding out, talking about all this stuff in the show. I said, "Okay, I want to do this. This is going to be great." And for me, after a kind of crazy 2 years, I said, I'm going to do more things to connect with my passion, things I love to do that make me happy. So the opportunity to do this podcast and meet all of you has been amazing. Nerding out, talking about the shows, and then the random things we talk about. Like last week's episode was amazing, right? It felt like we were all coming together. We were in the chat, just talking crazy discussion about seasonings. I don't know how we got there, but we were having fun, right? And I felt we were really hitting our stride. Scott was laughing, we were all laughing. It felt like family. It felt like we really liked each other, and we do. So I cannot thank Scott enough for bringing us together and creating such a wonderful vehicle for us to express our passion, to form relationships with people that we really like. And I'm glad to hear that we're talking about sustaining his legacy and not letting this go. I was concerned when I heard the news yesterday as I was driving, like, okay, well, that's it. Is that it?
Yeah.
We were building such a great community here. But the fact we're continuing this legacy, I think this is the greatest testament to Scott. He's touched so many lives. He's created a space for us to enjoy a passion that we all love. So I'm really thankful for his life. I'm really thankful for how many people he's touched over the years. I'm really thankful that he's made his mark on this world. I definitely want to lift up his family at this time. Grief, this is not easy. He was a great father because every episode, the kids were in the background. We heard the household. It was busy.
And the
It was
dog.
going on. The dog, everything. It was
Oh
like
yeah, the dog.
everybody was in the background, and he had a rich life, right? And these, I say people are rich when they don't have material wealth, but the kind of people, the friendships they have, the lives they touch, the impact they made, and from that, I will tell you that Scott had a very rich life, a
Yeah.
very rich and well-lived life. So I just lift him up in all our conversations, in our memories. He lives on with each and every one of us. So I'm very thankful that I've been connected to each and one of you, and I'm thankful for Scott's life.
Amen. I feel
Prentice
like we
just
should have
admitted
said
he
that.
likes
Yeah.
us too. So
You know what though, Prentice? Something you said is so true. It's much more important to be rich in love and life than it is in
yeah.
material and money and that is very, very true.
And isn't that Scott though? Because like even
Yes.
like dude, when did he lose his job? Like it was like
I didn't
months
even
ago,
know.
wasn't
I
it?
didn't even know. Yeah.
I
March
like
or
and
April,
you
maybe.
you wouldn't have even known that he
No.
wasn't working, that he was stressed out, that like he's been like he's been interviewing, he's been trying to find something else. Like, I'm going to tell you, I read his wife's post about, he had a possible job offer coming, and like I thought he had found something, which maybe he had like in between the last one and the next one, but like you wouldn't have even known that Scott, like it was a little bit every now and then that you could let on that maybe something was going on, but nothing like it would be for me if I didn't have a job. You know what I mean? Like I would be losing my absolute shit. Like, how do I pay my bills? How do I take care of my stuff? Like, and he just carried on like it was another day. And like that just really embodies the whole spirit of him, is like continue to serve others, continue to make others happy, continue to do things for others, even though his world was literally like crumbling around him. So I don't like it.
No, if there's one other thing that I'll say, uh, just lost it. God damn it! It's that if you ever met Scott, he had a way about him that was surly. um,
Yeah.
It's a polite way of
I
saying
mean,
Scott could be an
Sure
asshole.
it is.
it is. I met him my freshman year of high school, and I hated him until my sophomore year. I really did. He was a friend of a friend, and I thought he was an asshole. And he ended up being the best man at my wedding.
Can you
Go
tell him
figure.
how you felt when he sat next to you in the first class you guys were in?
Oh, yeah. I was telling these guys the story of us, yeah, getting assigned. Like he was always the friend of a friend, hanging around, and it was whatever. And then there was a point when we got put into a class together in high school, and I remember like him walking in and me being like, "Oh shit!" Like
Fuck, not this guy.
I don't want to do this. Not this guy. And he came over and he like sat in the desk right next to me. And by the end of that class, like we were getting in trouble all the time for like fucking giggling, like that's when it happened. And anyway, it's just I guess the funny thing about Scott I thought was like what you just said. Like he had this sort of surly demeanor about him. He was not mean. He did not ever want to like steamroll anybody, but he also didn't back down.
Yeah.
And he came at people in a certain way that took some getting used to, perhaps. but what's wild to me is I now look back on memories in life of knowing him for fucking 30 years or whatever it's been. And Scott was not a negative person ever. He always had hope. In his heart, he always looked forward and looked up. And his personal mantra that I have also taken to heart in the last few years, or tried to, is like the words that come out of his mouth was always, "How can I help?" And yeah, I don't know. Just hearing you guys talk, kind of, it was crazy to look back and realize like that I had not realized that about him before. That he was this super hopeful, forward-thinking guy. Even now, and like so many puzzle pieces like are clicking into place about his taste in certain movies and why Superman was so important to him as a character, and why Trek is so much more important to him. Because it's much the same thing. It's about hope. It's about optimism in the end. And it's another reason why it's so important for us to keep doing the show. Because I know he wants us to share this with more people. So, and he wanted to share this with all of you. I think that was the main thing. I think the community part probably came second. He wanted to share this thing that he loved with all of us. So yeah.
Even though I wanted to punch his face on so many different occasions because he would say something and he'd be like, well, it's okay to have your own opinion, but it's also okay to be wrong.
But
and
you're
I'd be
wrong.
like,
Yeah, but you're wrong.
With the little smirk.
You're only
knowing
an
he
hour
was
and a half away
just
from me. Keep talking to me like that, sir. Like,
professional peeve petter.
he said something to me when we first started. So with Model Illinois government, we would have class. And then, so once a week we would have class to prepare for the simulation. And then, we would go down for the meeting of the whole, which was like what, February. And Springfield was like, God, it felt like an 8-hour drive, but it's only like an hour and maybe 15 minutes from where we live.
It's because the
Maybe
cornfields.
Yeah, maybe an hour and a half. And he said something to me when I first met him, and it didn't make any sense. But now that you guys were just talking, it makes all the fucking sense in the world. He said to me, we're in the car, and he turns around, he's sitting we were in one of those fucking buses that like is a big white Jester van. I'll leave it at that. And I mean, he's sitting in the seat in front of me, and he turns around, and out of nowhere, he goes, "Do you think aliens dream?" And I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Aliens, do you think they dream?" I'm like, "I don't fucking know."
What
Like,
the fuck?
what is like, I had only known him for like a month maybe. And I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? And I was like, okay, I don't know. Like, I don't even know if I believe in aliens right now. Like, you're asking me way deeper questions. And we get down in the meeting of the whole, we have the thing, we have the simulation, and Scott becomes one of my people, right? And I never thought anything about that again until I was just sitting here thinking like all the things that he said to me. That's probably the weirdest, but it also makes the most sense because knowing what he likes and what he loves and how sci-fi was his thing. Like, do I think aliens dream? I still don't know, Scott, but I do appreciate him sharing everything that he was so passionate with about me, because I was blown away at the Babylon 5 community. Like, holy shit, you guys are so, like, if you're listening to this, I'm gonna guess you probably found us through Babylon 5. Like, I don't know how many sane people find us just on their own and continue to listen to us, but like the outreach that Scott was so fucking good at it, right? Like, he was so good at the podcast. He was so good at the reaching out to people, the finding people, the interviews, the passion that he brought, the stupid fucking things that he would say during the podcast that made me want to just be like, hi, we are on a fucking Babylon 5 podcast. Why are we talking about Quantum Leap fucking 18 years ago? All of that though, now I would pay money to go back and just let Scott fucking ramble about anything that he wanted to. So, I'm so grateful for him and everybody else. So,
well, maybe Mike can help me with this because I don't remember how we Scott and I became friends. Like, I have
He's
no
just
idea.
always
It was
been
just
there.
like my senior of high school. It's like suddenly I'm like friends with Scott. And
Suddenly
Mike.
I've got a Scott.
Like, it was like I don't know if I was like adopted by them. I honestly don't know how it happens, and I'm mad that he's not here to tell me.
Knowing
Yeah.
Scott, that's probably exactly how it happened. Like, you're my
Because
people.
I have like, okay, high school was a bad time for me. I was not living my best life. I was not
Yeah.
my best self. He was my friend anyway.
Mm.
So
Yeah,
I
I
would
don't know.
love to know why. Like,
I don't know
really,
if you
dude,
met Scott,
why?
but he's a big fucking nerd.
You
So
know,
any girls with boobs that show him
Yeah.
attention probably
Yeah.
was like, yes.
Maybe I
we're
said
in.
hi once and it got mistaken as friendship, and it's just it is what it is now.
That might have been all it took.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
We were at Meg in 2020. We had all gone back. For anybody listening that knows us, it was the Meg that I screamed at Odie in the bar. But we were playing Cards Against Humanity, and out of nowhere, he is drunk. So it doesn't surprise me what comes out of his mouth when he's been drinking. But he leans over, and I told you guys this last night. So if you were there last night, you heard this. He leans over and he goes, I always thought you were hot. It's like, okay, Scott, that wasn't a big surprise. Like, nothing about that surprised me, Scott. He's like, I just wanted you to know you're still hot. I'm like, oh, okay. We're both married and this is creeping me out. But that was just so Scott. Like, he just said whatever he wanted to.
and out of the blue, that was his memo.
Yes. He's a weird motherfucker, and that's how he claimed you as his own, because you were a girl and you had boobs, and I guarantee he was
Weird
like, there will be
attracts
a day.
weird. Yeah, weird attracts
There'll be
weird.
days, yep, that I will see those boobs. That's what he was thinking. I guarantee. He's not here to tell me no, so that's how it was.
And I referred to it online as, Scott was definitely part of a chosen family, and it's a weird as fuck family.
It is weird as fuck.
But it's a
Yes.
family we chose to be part of, and that we've
Agreed.
all been there with, and we're gonna keep the weird going.
Yes,
Sure.
we are.
And Chris and Prentice have no choice. So welcome to the crazy.
They're just along for the ride at this point with the weird.
I'm just as surprised as you guys are most of the time, so it's fine.
So I think that wraps us up for this. We just wanted to come on here, one, thank all of you, two, share some memories of Scott and who he was and what he meant to us. And we've heard from a lot of you what he has meant to you and what these shows have meant to you. And as we said, we will be carrying on this legacy that he helped start and that he has poured his passion and his time into the last 5 years to build what this is, and we're not going to let it go away and disappear. We do ask for time. We don't have a timeline. We don't know when we're going to be back with new episodes. There's some things we need to work out, but we are coming back, and hold on to that and know that we are actively working towards that. And when we are ready and we feel that we're in the place to do that, we will be back, and we will be hopefully part of your routines again as we continue this journey through Star Trek Deep Space Nine. I have been Blake, and joining me tonight has been
Emily.
Chris.
Prentice.
Nicole.
Fucking Jesse.
And Mike.
I will say real quick, I'm gonna try to, in the time that we are not recording, I'm gonna try to do cast interviews. We did them with Babylon 5. We uploaded them on YouTube. It's just kind of like get to know your cast. So I do want to start that and start posting those. We'll post them as episodes. There's a lot of like little details that we have to work out as far as like how do we gain access to certain things and how do we post and things like that. So be patient with us, but I will tell you that if we do post them on YouTube, we will let you guys know. So
and for right now, we will be posting on the Gray 17 channel. That is the one. Scott and I co-hosted Gray 17. I have access to all of Gray 17.
Yeah.
Because I stepped back from especially the lies, that's the one we need to work with. And obviously we're gonna have to work with Scott's family to get that. And this is not the time clearly to do that. But when they're ready and stuff, we'll reach out and we will work with them to get access. So for now, keep an eye out on the Gray 17 channel. That is where we will be posting these special videos that Jesse mentioned with the cast interviews. That's where this video is gonna live. And as we get back into it and get access to everything, we will merge back with especially the lies as well.
Thank you for listening to Grey 17, a Babylon 5 podcast. You can find all the places to listen to and watch this podcast at anchor.fm/Grey17podcast or youtube.com at Grey17podcast. We want to hear from you, so join the conversation at Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, or Patreon. Be sure to subscribe and leave a review where you are listening to or watching this podcast. Grey 17 is not affiliated with, and the podcast has not been prepared, approved, or licensed by Warner Brothers or any other owners of the Babylon 5 copyright. All clips included in this podcast are the intellectual property of the respective copyright holders. They are included here for purpose of review, and no infringement is intended. The opening and closing themes are available from Falling Matter on YouTube.
And what's out there?
The rim,
And beyond that?
the truth.